Welcome to this e-learning module where you will learn about all the fundamentals about IT infrastructure. Here, if you are here, it's because you passed your system exam, so congratulations. The main idea here, at this stage, is not to make you an expert about IT, but to give you enough level of credibility on the phone when you will be talking to IT managers, IT directors about the IT challenges. Michael Jordan didn't become the best basketball player of the history by trying to do a slam dunk first, but by learning how to bounce and pass the ball. So starting with the basics will give you the fundamentals to develop yourself in specific areas in the coming month. And then you'll become an expert. This course, as you understand, is part of your induction at the AMS, but as well suitable for any employee that wants to refresh his mind in IT basics. But first of all, what is IT? Why are we using computers, servers, or any other kind of hardware or software in organizations? The idea is simple: to simplify and optimize the communication across people and organizations. Just take a look at the amount of emails we send every day and try to send all of them by mail. I'll let you guess the pain and time it would take to have what you want. In order to give you an overview of what is an IT infrastructure, we will cover the 4 sections for the hardware part. So client, server, storage, and network. So, are you ready to learn? So client. In this module, you will learn what we call a client in IT, the different forms of client we find on the market and how it works. Then, we will cover the main vendors on the market. If you are working on a project for Dell or HP, you might need to know who are the best competitors. We will see then what kind of other areas of the IT can be involved when you have a project for clients. Finally, we will listen to a call related to a client project, and I'll give you the best questions to succeed when you will discuss this kind of project on the phone. So, what is a client? A client is, strictly speaking, a piece of computer hardware or software that accesses a service made available by a server. It's the server customer. It is also used as an overall phrase for all EUC, end user computing. We can as well say that a client is a system that accesses a network, a remote service, on another computer system, known as a server, by way of a network. Sounds a bit complicated, right? So in other words, here we are talking about desktops, laptops, or as well mobile device, like a smartphone for example. In order to make a client work, we will need some critical component like a motherboard, the processor, as well called the CPU, primary storage or active memory, the RAM, secondary storage, and finally input-output devices. So before we explain the different kind of clients we find on the market, let's detail a little bit those different components. A motherboard is one of the most essential parts of a computer system. It holds together many of the crucial components of a computer, including the central processing unit, as we say, the CPU, memory and connectors for input and output devices. The base of a motherboard consists of a very firm sheet of non-conductive material, typically some sort of rigid plastic, thin layers of copper or aluminum foil, referred to as traces, are printed onto this sheet. These traces are very narrow and form the circuits between the various components. In addition to circuits, a motherboard contains a number of sockets and slots to connect the other components. In other words, all of the different parts of the computer are connected to the motherboard. This lets them work together. In most computers, the motherboard is a big green board, but many come in different colors like black, red, or yellow. A processor, also referred to as CPU, is the brain of the PC. It carries out the instructions of a computer program in form of basic arithmetical and logical operations. As you can see on the picture, one of the main constructors in this area is Intel. I'm sure you already heard this name. The primary memory, also called RAM, for random access memory, is an indispensable step for your data to be stored and used through your client. Your processor can't work with the data stored on a hard drive or USB drive. In order to make it accessible for the processor, this data has to be loaded first into the RAM, also referred to as active memory. Once the data is processed, it can be executed through the application and then saved back to the storage area, like hard drives, USB, a tape. This part will be deeply covered in the section called storage, but to give you an idea, storage is the place where data is saved or stored. Here we are talking about medias like hard drives, tapes, USB, flash drives, CD, DVD. Input and output devices. We are here talking about all the components that will make the use of your computer possible. To give you an example, it's like if you had the best engine in the world in your car, but no wheels and steering wheels. You wouldn't go that far, will you? So the main inputs we are talking about are your keyboard, the mouse, the scanner, or a webcam. The main outputs will be your monitor, printer, or speaker. Now you know about those components, you understand what is necessary to make a client work. By the way, all those components are registered in what we call in IT the x86 typology. It's now time to have a look at the different kind of client we find on the market. So, how does it work? In this section, we will see how we distinguish the different kinds of client in three main categories. First category, the fat client. A fat client or thick client is a computer, so client, in client-server architecture or networks which typically provide rich functionality independent of the central server. Originally known as just a client or thick client, the name is contrasted to thin client, which describes a computer heavily dependent on a server's applications. In other words, a fat client is a desktop as we all knew it when we were kids, with his tower, screen and keyboard. In the fat client, you can find all the elements of the x86 as this device is 100% independent and can work on its own. It doesn't have to be attached to another device like a server to work and run applications. Life cycle for this kind of client, 4 to 5 years. Second category, the thin client. A thin client, sometimes also called a lean or slim client, is a computer which depends heavily on some other computer, usually a server, to fulfill its traditional computational roles. This stands in contrast with the traditional fat client, a computer designed to take on these roles by itself. The exact roles assumed by the server may vary, from providing data persistence to actual information processing on the client's behalf. Let's take the example of EAMS. The client on which you will work is a thin client. It means that all the applications you will use and all the data you will access is actually not run and saved on the hardware you have in front of you, but in board mode. You are just using an interface to access it. For this category, the life cycle is around 8 years. Third category, mobile client. A mobile client is a client that is not fixed in one position. For example, a laptop, which is using a network interface to communicate with the server, or a mobile phone using a protocol such as the wireless application protocol to connect into our server. Mobile computing is a major expansion area. Well, basically here, we are talking about your laptop, tablet, smartphone. The life cycle for this kind of client, 3 years. As we said, the idea of this training is to give you enough credibility for your first calls in your campaign. And this comes mainly with some knowledge on the market and the different vendors who are fighting there. So when it comes to clients, the main names to know are Lenovo, HP, Dell, Apple, or Acer. Get familiar as well with the brand Wyse, which is specialized in thin client and part of the Dell environment. In IT, you will realize that everything is related to something else. So the idea here is to help you to understand what kind of other needs an organization can have when they refresh or implement new client in their infrastructure. So let's go one by one to give you a general idea. The main topic related to client is the client management or mobile device management. These kind of tools will help you to maintain the infrastructure always effective by automatically checking and improving the status of your infrastructure. It will help you as well to deploy more effectively the new devices. For more details, I would recommend you to watch the module called Client Management, Mobile Device Management. The second point would fall into the security topic with your endpoint protection. The idea is to provide the right level of security to avoid intrusion on your network. Simple forms of endpoint security include personal firewalls and antivirus software that is distributed and then monitored and updated from the server. Some of the main providers in this area are companies like Symantec, Trend Micro, Sophos, Kaspersky, or McAfee. Operating system licenses is as well a point that IT managers will look at when upgrading their client farm, especially for compatibility purposes with their applications. Another big trend related to client is VDI, Virtual Desktop Infrastructure. Same thing than for the client management. We will cover this topic in details in another section, the virtualization section. Finally, one of the main trends in IT at the moment is BYOD, bring your own device. Trust me, one day or another, you will hear this topic on the phone. Here, for us, the idea is to understand how IT departments will provide the right level of security on devices that haven't been provided by the company. For example, your colleague that received an iPad for his birthday and wants absolutely to use it for professional purposes. Will the corporate information be safe if he accesses it through this device? And first of all, will he be able to access this data? That's the kind of questions that the main companies providing MDM, mobile device management, try to answer. Now you understand the main points about client, it's time to see how this knowledge and understanding can be used in the real life, talking to an IT guy on the phone. So please, listen to the call called Client Project. I would recommend you to take some notes and write down some questions that you can ask later to your induction trainer.
Hello,
Hello, could I speak to Mr. Ratcliffe, please, in IT?
that's me speaking.
Oh, hi, Rob. How are you this morning?
Good, thanks, and you?
Good, thank you. My name's Matthew. I'm calling from Dell. Just giving you a quick call this morning, Rob, from the business development team. The reason for my call is quite simple. We're just wanting, at the beginning of the year, to touch base with you guys, be able to understand a little bit more about your upcoming needs in 2013 with regards to the IT infrastructure. Really just to see how we can assist and better engage with you. What would you say are going to be your top priorities in IT over the year?
Okay, well, just this year, I've just replaced my SAN this last year with a Dell unit, actually. And normal requirements, at the moment my standard for laptops is Apple because we're advertising, and then from my account perspective side we use HPs. But at the moment what I'm doing is, because our company's, like, it's downsized a little bit, I'm pretty much replacing whatever goes back to the leasing company. So I haven't got huge orders or anything like that, but what I am interested in particularly is these new smart tablets that are coming around. And I noticed particularly that Dell's got quite a few on offer that are running Windows 8 and all of that. Is that true?
The new ones, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't give you any concrete pricing right now. But yeah, I do know that they're very popular, actually, the Windows 8 ones. Is there any particular reason that you're looking into tablets there, Rob?
Well, it's kind of the way the world's going, really. Eventually, we're all going to be sitting on those things, and the functionality of being able to, those particular ones where you can just plug in and go, and you got from tablet to desktop to laptop.
Yep.
It works. I really like the concept of that, and it makes sense that that's where things are going. So
Yeah.
I want to see one. I want to try one. I was actually invited. I just got an invite this morning to go see HP's launching their one next week. So I don't know. I don't know who's. I mean, I suppose the insides are all the same. It's just a matter of just making your brand on it.
Yeah, but yeah, the features as well, definitely. And what will you be using your tablets for within the company specifically?
Well, at the moment, so at the moment, because we're Apple, we've got a lot of iPads and people using them for going to meetings and all that kind of stuff and having mail on the go. But why I like those ones is because you could essentially swap out and go, you don't need a laptop, tablet, and you've got everything you need here. So that's where I'm looking. It's a bit of a investigation type thing, seeing if it's a proper possibility.
Yep. And have you looked? I know you said you've just been to see your HP launch. Have you looked at any other solutions with anybody else already?
No, well, the HP one, I just got an invite for it. I haven't seen it yet, and I want to see whoever's got. Because I know Samsung's got one on the market as well. I've seen your stuff on the market too. So I'm just looking at them now. Got to see which one looks best and what comes with the best features.
So, and you said before that you would appreciate having a play with one.
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, how many would you be ideally looking to procure?
Well, if they're actually a solution that works, then well, the price is a bit steep at the moment. They're sitting at about between 15 and 20K, aren't they? Depends which model you go for, isn't it?
Well, it depends kind of how many you're looking at, and I think where you get them from and what features you're looking for specifically.
Yeah, like everything. You know what, if it works, I would end up rolling them out to the whole company. If it's cost effective enough, it makes sense for everyone to have one. And I would use them to replace all machines.
Okay. So, I mean, you're going to be replacing desktops and laptops and things with tablets?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's the ones that have got like 128 gig RAM, 128 gig hard drives and all that kind of stuff, because it will be a laptop replacement.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
well, obviously, like I'm saying this, I'm looking, because I'm really muddling my words this morning.
Don't worry, it's very early.
I'm working on spreadsheets this morning and suddenly having to use all.
Don't worry, Rob. It's almost Friday. You're almost there.
First week. It's first week back at work as well.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at this from an investigative perspective
to
see whether something is viable. But if I'm guessing this is the way the world's going, this is what I want to head towards. So, I mean, every laptop would be swapped out for it eventually over the course of the next 2 years then.
Okay. And how many people do you have working there then? You said you want one per person.
We have 120 people, of which about 60% are Mac. Actually, yeah, about 60% are Mac. So call it 40 or 50 people are running on Windows.
So you'd be looking to replace just the people that are on Windows with a tablet?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And when would you want to start to kind of procure those?
Well, it's dependent on price, as well as also what we're doing at the moment is swapping out as leased equipment is being returned. So it's a phased approach. It'll happen for the next 3 years, really.
Okay.
But I don't know what the figures are for call it the first two quarters of this year. I'd have to look.
Okay, but would you be looking to start that this year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Based on whether it's cost effective and actually a solution that's viable for the company. Yeah.
And
yeah,
so
I would like that.
Okay. And I mean, do you have any kind of figures in your head? I mean, what level of investment would you say it's worth to get the solution in place?
I don't know. Actually, really, it's one of my things to do. Look next week and see what I'm replacing.
Sure.
I don't know.
And I mean, when you do come to do this, Rob, is that going to be anybody else involved in the decision making other than yourself?
No, it's just me.
Okay, just you. And are you required to pass that on? Is somebody else giving the green light on the project, or would that be okay?
It's me.
And with regards to the budget, how would the budgeting work for the project?
What do you mean, the figure or whether?
I mean,
it's approved
is
or not?
it, yeah, is it already allocated? Do you see any
Yeah,
value?
it's allocated already. I've got it all there.
Okay. Okay. I've got already an email address for you. It's rratcliffe with an E on the end at jupiter.co.za.
Yeah,
Yeah, is that right?
that's right.
I mean, how valuable would it be for you, Rob, if I put somebody in touch with you regarding the tablets in the next 6 weeks from Dell, an account manager, and they can help you with, well, they can really offer you exactly what we have solution-wise for the tablets, and also with regards to pricing and things like that. They can be the person to do that. And I have you as the Information Technology Manager.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. And you guys still, I've got a PO box address. Would I be able to find your physical address on the internet?
Yes, it's on this website.
Okay. Okay, Rob, no problem. Well, what I'll do is I'll get somebody to contact you in the next 6 weeks. Is there any particular time that's busy for you don't want to be contacted?
Just chance it.
Yeah.
It's not available.
Every day's a surprise, right?
Yeah.
All right, Rob, no problem. Well, I'll get that sorted out for you, and I'll get somebody in contact with you in the next few weeks.
Thank you very much.
Okay, have a best of luck with everything.
Thank you. You too.
Have a good
Cheers.
weekend, Rob. Bye-bye.
So, how was it? Nice call, isn't it? You see that you don't need to be the new Bill Gates to maintain a good level of conversation with an IT professional. So, if we summarize, the best question to ask would be, how many clients do you have? How old are your clients? What's your refreshment cycle? How long does it take you to get a client out of the box until it's running live? How satisfied are you currently with your clients and the management of those? And how would you improve that? How do you manage your client fleet? Another good one would be, which applications, software are you using on it? And finally, which operating system do you use? When are you looking to upgrade that? So, do you want to show what you've learned? It's time to you to take your exam on clients. And thanks for watching this e-learning.